よし。よし。配信開始時間に配信を始めないといけないっていうルールはなかったと思うんで。まだ15分くらいあるんですけど、始めます。ということで、どうも、皆さん、こんばんは。野良猫のあです。こんにちは。こんにちは。こんにちはって言った方が多分いいと思った。ツイートするわ。よし。このゲーム、なぜか最初に時間を設定しないといけない。9時の今16分だけど、こういうの17分にポチッと押したらなくなるタイプ。うち焦った。待って待って。ちょっと待って。はい。はい。ああ、さっき、ちゃんとやったんですね。ああ、ああ。こうしましょう。激動画面に表示される。どうぞセットしたい時間は正しい時間の課題。えなんか、一回終了するか。一回終了しよう。もう一回やるわ。もう一回開いて。おお、なんか出てきた。あ、もう一回やるか。9時19分になったら押します。
や
っほー。いや、いとちゃん。今日はね、なんか、脳みそに聞こえてくる言葉に逆らうゲームをやります。ただ、正しい時間に設定するのではない正しく私。
あなたに直接語りかけています。
そんな感じ。だけど素晴らしい時なんです。あなたがどのような設定をできたわけでしょう。すら持ってきてるか。打つかな打つかしか。いやいや、さっさと。ああ、なんか、もう一回このゲーム、再起動します。なんか、再起動し続けると話が進んでくる。
草
なんだこのゲーム。面白すぎる。
なんだよこれ草。
よし。で、犬と猫の友達になるようにスライダーを調整してください。あー。これだと近すぎるもんね。多分こうだろうね。 友達ってね。こっち恋人になっちゃうから。これ友達だ。5が9。あ
3個は付き合っとんのよ。
?3 個はね、ラブラブすぎるわ。ラブラブラブです、あれは。5が9になる。ちょっと待って。5、6、7、8、7、8、9。IX ってなんだっけ？
9ないの。
IX が、これが9だ。これがローマ字数字で9だ。9なさそうだね。あった。9があった。ありました。これで。こっち。
こいつ9なんか。
あ、あなたがスライダーの調節をやめるまでスライダーを調節してください。どこでもいいってことか。ここだってもいいし、ここでもいいし、ここでもいいし。ちょっとここ隙間開けとこう。キボインカル。スクラム、プッシュ。
微妙なわら。
いや、おっきボインカル。ボイン、いや、こっちかな。なんか、しないでください。はい。はい。はい。いいえ。あなた自身のことで私にまだ何か言ってないことがありますか？はい。何にも言ってないです。助けて。はい。これ、まだ始まってないからね。あ、ちょっと待って。まだ始まってないけど、もう一回デスクトップ戻ろう。もう一回、もう一回やり直します。
草。
なんか、ありそうなんだもん。あ、
ここだけで面白いとか強くさ。
何人、ああ、もちろんそんな人はいません。誰も知らないです。なりました。まるで他人のようなものです。もちろんゲームの設定の話をに挑戦して、集める情報はありますね。私ができないのは情報をすべて集めました。それでは、あなたのことを本当に知らない。これ、できないいくつもあると思います。ですよね。近いゲームスタート。ヘビーゲームってあれからもしれません。もう一つ、調整する必要がある設定なんですけど、ちょっと時間がかかるから準備しないと。なんだとかでしょうな。なんだでしょう、またね。これで終わりかな？ちょっと確認してみよう。ちょっと確認してみるだけ確認し、もう一回。なんだ、このゲーム。面白いな。
確認わら。
確認。なんかあるかもしんないから。いないって言われてるけど、いるかもしんない。いなかった。ってことで始めていきましょう。ゲームを。セッティングゲーム始めます。
やっとかわら。
クリッククリックして、物語を進める一瞬でクリックしちゃった。 て。めっちゃ早いんだけど。まあ、いいか。で、まあ、クリックしてもいいゲームなんだろう
All
ね。
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
会議
No
室
matter
に、
how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
ここにいろってことだね。
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the
全部
office,
触る。
but it didn't. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No, 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 no. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10。1、2、3、4、5、6、1、8、9、10。なんもなんねえじゃねえかよ。カチャカチャカチャカチャ。
ちゃんと数えんのなくさ。
20回ちょうどじゃないとダメなのかなって。めっちゃ押してたから。うわー。永遠にできるよ、俺。
472めっちゃ好きじゃん。
470。出てきたと。あ、なんか来た。なんか、実績解放された。実績解放されました。やったね。行きましょう。こういうゲームだ。
なんで笑。
なんでだろう。なんかある向こうの部屋。閉じよう。全部閉じよう。出てるなった。なんか視点の移動が早い。
これは何するゲームなんだ。
ね。ここで分かると思う。左のドアに入りましたって言われました、今。頭の中に。これに右に行きましょう。こういうゲームです。脳内の指示に従ってもいいし、逆らってもいいっていう。
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth it, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
最初の左って言った？奥行こうぜ。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
これから落ちるな。ジャンプすんな。で、罰金かかるよ、みたいな。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
降りれるんじゃない？
Someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.Someone you forgot. Really?
Oh, do
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why? I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
怒ってる。
Let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a
デンジャー
chance.
エブリウェア。どこも危険。閉められた。怒ってる。これ、なんかこういうゲームなんかありそう
Now
で。
listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
青いドアも用意してんのがおかしいんだよな。これな。
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
あ、いける。
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
レッツと、うえー。
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this
めっ
section of
ちゃ
the
ま
map.
だ
Because
まだ
you
ま
were
だ
never
全部
supposed
逆ら
to
っ
be
て
here
こ
in
う
the。first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the
うちの
entire
デベロ
story
ッパ
I
ー
had
テク
written
スチャ
out
ー。
specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go.
Oh.
The third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were
ちょっと入ってみよ
Go ahead, Stanley.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now,
はい。
tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
このゲームを、評価してくださいって言われてる。ちょっと、どうしよう。どうしよう。どうしたらいいとじゃあ。いや。1かな。めっちゃ一応したい。どこだ？よし。1、いや、2かな。
Oh, well, now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It didn't cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new
一応
version.
しなかった
And。to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
スタンリーパブルワールドワイドランリーダーボード。ああ。わからない。ああ。これが自分だって。もう一回やってみよう。おう。
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard
Ichi-
helps you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again,
Ichi-
honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working
Ah,
on,
oh.
and now would be a lovely opportunity to give
Oh,
it some
oh.
playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby
Hi, hi.
crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right,
Oh.
and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very
あ
meaningful
あ、かわい
game,
い。あ、ちょ
all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice.
あちゃん
But
が
of course, the message of the game only
あっ
becomes
ちにハイハイ
clear
するか
once
ら
you've been playing it for about 4
これ
hours.
押せって
So
み
why
る
don't
こ
you
と
give
ね
it。4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
これうわ、どういうこと？
You heartless bastard.
あ
Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of
あ。なん
ideas.
か、
I can't
一
think
回
of a
押したことで
single
なん
thing
か
that
トロ
might
ッコ問
improve the
題みたいになっちゃ
experience
ったわ
for。me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out.
ト
I'm
ロッコ
done.
問題で
It's over.
あ
Thank
の
you for
押すみ
playing.
たいな感じにな
Your
っちゃっ
input
た。
was
笑顔で泣きな
extremely
がら突っ込む
valuable.
なわら。
Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
お、次の。
Aha!
Oh.
Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. But it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else
待って。しゃがめんなら。
is out there.
うわー。出てくださいって言ってた？今、出てくださいって言ってたね。この中になんかあんだろ。やってるか。おお。なんか一気にベースゲームになった。わらわらわらって草って読まれんだ。いけー。
No, 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 it can't be.
全部草。
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
Ah!
Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
どうやったら出られるんだろう。何かやれば出られるんだろう、これ。
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
あ、いけなかった。おー、これはロケット、ロケリだ。ロケットリーグだ。いいのこれ。
There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenal.
知ってるけどこのゲーム。ロケットリーグ。昔やってたよ俺。
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see.
別ゲー出てきた。
There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack.
車あるね。
I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think
ここにボールが出てきてね。
Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
3対3のゲームで。あ、来て。これ触って、青か。
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a
あ、ちょっと早くなっ
and
た。
I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try hard. Here comes another ball.
あー、ボールがなんか2つ
Oh
に増えた。
goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls.
ああ、これ全部入れようぜ。全部入れるわ。全部入れたる。こうなったら。
Are you enjoying this, Stanley?
バイオワラ。
Are you having fun? Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope
これめ
you're
っちゃ面
having a
白い
good
わ。
time because guess what? It's over.
あ、
That's right. All little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let
終わ
you,
らせられた。
Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's
おお、
what...
あ、落ちちゃった。
What are you doing?
足取られた。ああ、ああ、ああ。
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that.
おお、なんか変わった。なんか適当になってる。なんかドアが絵になってる。おお、面白いかもしんない。このゲーム。なんも起きない。戻るか。なんだここは。あ、
I wonder what he
お、
found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story,
あ、
well,
見つけちゃっ
perhaps
た
he's
のか。
gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that
見ちゃ
comes
いけ
with
ない
it.
ものを見てしまっ
He'll
たらしい。
understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends,
お
after
め
it
が
all
黒
comes
幕
to
か。
a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
押せ押せ押せ。おお、次になった。おお。あ、BGM が。おん、
All of his co-workers were gone.
ああ、終わ
What
り
did it mean?
新しくなったって。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference. Nor
ああ、お
did
前
it
そういうこと言うなよ。
please. Are you really just
まあ、
doing
実
this for the
績を。
achievement?
だか
Click
ら、
a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No, 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 no. I can't just give these merits away for such
この
little
話が終わ
a
る前に。
measly fight. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered
次
the
は
door
左
on
入っ
his
てみるか。
left.
全部従ってみよ
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
従うか。
う。したら全部
Coming
従
to a
ってみる。
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
めっちゃ
office.
分岐点が多い。
Stepping into his manager's office,
Manager
Stanley was
か。
once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
なんかある。違うんだろう。行こう。んおお。わ、怖い。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
お
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
はい。エスケープも行きたいね。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
自分は472だな。472どこある？あった。あれだ。自分の番号。
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
427? 472だ。472っす。自分の番号。自分が出てきた部屋の番号が。
Happy or sad or content, walking,
食べる？
eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very
アルファ
place.
さん。
And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
さっきのコメントなんで、あれ？それを細かく知ってるってことは、後で使うってことか？何すればいいんだこれ。3。1、1、2、3ってこと？ 1 探すの？5がある。上なんだあれ。あった1。ルルルルル。そういうこと？どういうこと？どういうことだ？
ボタンいっぱいあるね。
なんか、いっぱいある。トゥルルル。これ427ってことか。ここで427使うのか。一瞬で回収されたな、その伏線。これ3でしょ？上、あの上どうやって行くんだ？あの上、
そういうこと。
そういうことじゃないかな。このボタン違うの。押せない。 どうやって開けんだ？とりあえず、なんか、
隣のルームは
隣のルームこれか。おお。マインドコントロールアイドル。ウェイティングインプット。お、ボン。
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
ボン。
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
オンした。
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to
ミスったっ
understand,
てことだな。
there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's
ネットワー
emergency
ク
detonation
緊
system.
急
In
爆
the
発室
event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear
Oh,
detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes.
おお。
Ah, now this is making things a little more fun,
逃げろ
isn't
って
it,
こと？
Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's
Whoa.
your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a
なんか
shame
ど
we
っから
have
来
so
たっ
little
け？
time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to
や
talk
べえ、
about
何も覚え
you,
てね
about me, where we're going. What all
何
this
すればいいんだろう。
means, I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
あ、
A moment of solace before you're obliterated.
開いてる。
All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them.
あ、
I erased them. I turned
Yo.
off the machine. I set you free.
4
Of
人
course,
な
that was
7って
merely
ことあ
in
る
this
か？
instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground,
しまったな。
swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go.
7あるのか。
But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around
7ない
will
か。
be even better. My
トゥルルル。
goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
1、2、
These
3、
are
4ってことは？
precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time
まさか？
doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you.
4、あと5。
Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These
Oh.
numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this
よし。
door.
おお。
Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley?
あ
That
ー、
this
違
video
う
game can
か。
be beaten? One solved?
あ、また？
Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you
トゥルル
made
トゥルル
humble.
って音に
This
変わ
is
った。
not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this
第
world, that's
1。
fine.
トゥルル
But I'm
トゥル
going
ル
to
ル。
destroy it first.
あの音は何なんだ？
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you being... Will you cling desperately to your frail life? Or will you let it go
2
peacefully?
分以上あったな、これ。
Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be looking at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever up.
あ。あ。The end is never the end is never. おー。もう一回やってみたよ。あっちで一回オフを押さないといけない、俺は。
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
284
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Ooh.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
後でこっちの左の道も行ってみる。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Go!
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
427
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
あれか。
100% にするの。エンディング。
いや、とりあえず、楽しむ。
This mind control facility
パーセン
was
ト
too horrible to believe it couldn't be
この
true.
ゲームの
Had
100%
Stanley
って
really
多
been
分や
under
ばそうじゃ
someone's
ん。
control all this time? Was this the only
気になる
reason
こ
he
と
was
を
happy with his
は
boring job?
やってみ
That
た
his
い。
emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never...
おお。で、どうなんだ
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
足しびれて。
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel.
フリー
Whatever
だ
life he lives, it will be
自由だうわ、めっちゃ田舎にあんじゃん。
all he needed to know. It
急
was
に。
perhaps the only thing.
どこにあんのこれ。
Stanley stepped through the open door.
ドアへ足を。こっちでいいんだよね。やったやった
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin. The
壁を見
feeling
た
of
い。
liberation. The immense possibility of the new path before
喉
him.
が好きんだろ
This
外
was。exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
お。ビートザゲーム。ゲームを打ち負かしたっていう実績が。おお。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
何を
Stanley
すればいいんだろ
decided to go to the
う。
meeting.
面白い。
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
なんか、エスケープ行ってみるか。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
気になって全部やっちゃうな。
Yet there was not a single person here either.
ここ。
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office,
Yeah, man,
hoping he might find an answer there.
いいか。あ
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
いや、
そうだね。気になっちゃうわら。
マジで気になる。これ絶対、いたら
There
面
was
白いじゃん
nothing
ね、
here.
多分。
No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
理由はない。
42ぐらいある。
42か。
It was
多いな。
baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
し
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
この声の正体が知りたいわ。
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
なんか乗れた。
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path.
Oh.
Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh,
Oh.
did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending
物
was
置エンド
my
が。
favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
ん
わら。
お
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really
あ
stupid.
ー、すごい。なんか
He
めっちゃ、
probably only got the job
めっちゃ
because of a
容
family
姿を
connection. That's how stupid he is.
めっちゃバカにされて
With
る。
drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and
めっちゃ
hookers.
けなされてる。やばい。
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
終わったら廊下には出ません。絶対出ません。ここにいます。エスケープが気になってたけど、ここまで来たなら出ません。高速屈伸しちゃうもんね。あ、本当にない。なんもない、本当に。
終わった。
なんか話は終わった。何も実績とかないんだけど。これ本当に何もないやつ。ここまで用意しといて何もないっていうオチ。待って、なんかあるんだろう。取れるもんが。
一回出てみたら。
一回出てみる。
Second player. It's good to have you on. You too?
Unbelievable.
I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Like, なんかいろいろやって出るみたいな。カシャっていった。って言ってる気なんだよな。あれ？なんだ？これは何なんだ？触れそうなものは全部触ったけど何もないな。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
エスケープ行こう。じゃあエスケープ行こう。何だったんだあれは。To be rich is a crime. To commit crimes isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to be just one? 金持ちのトイレなのかこれが。金持ちんちのトイレなのこれが。 ええ、パンダが銃口を突きつけられてる。あ、めっちゃ気になるじゃん。絶対、上上も行ける。上行こう。ああ、大きくした音楽。あ、同じ部屋だ。
エレベーター BGM いいね。
なんかおしゃれね。何回とか指定するボタンないんだよ。わかんない。
しかもナレーターもやってるわら。
あれ、俺、バイクか。うんと。ああ、変わんねえ。なんか、ずっと乗り続けるとかあんだろうな。
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy. So he relaxed for a few
してま
moments
した。
with some calming new age music.
ああ、早く押しちゃダメなの？
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
はい。いい分岐が見られたよ。パシーンって気なんだよな。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Escape.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
おお、永遠に続く道。
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
おお。いや。あ、終わった。ああ、終わってない。絶対痛いだろ。人間か、お前。
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of
わあ、
no
潰されてる。
consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no
これ
great loss, like plucking the
なん
eyeballs
かある
from
か。
a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent
なんかある
end
か。
to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
わあ。お、止まった。急に行くんだろうな。
Farewell,
あ、
Stanley,
お
cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
ちょ、変わった
In a。single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
あ、あー、これで落ちるのか。ザ・スタンリー
And yet it would be just a few minutes
Parable.
before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
おお、
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life
Roka.
the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
スタンリーのパソコン。オフィスレイアウト。この青写真。なんかいろいろ紹介されてる。飛ぶ穴。ああ。あそこのボタンだね。うん。ああ。え。そして火の打ちどころのないケビン、カバンライティングくらいのナレーター。上司のオフィス。ああ、すごい。オフィスの時計。ここに終わりはあんのか。廊下。初期バージョンの廊下の一部。揺れてる。
Stanley stood on the roof.
夫婦。
Then he pushed the number 8.
もう聞き取れんかったわ。
Stanley walked over the bridge.
ブリッジ。
Stanley pushed the big red button.
ああ、そういうことなんか、これ別に聞かなくていいやつか。上に行きます。フリーダムエンド。ああ。バルババン。カウントダウンデスク。これ、見てないな。笑われ
Oh,
た。
look at these two. How they wish to destroy
い
one
行くか。
another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
お、
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
お、
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As
あ
long
あ、
as you move
エス
forward,
ケープをして、
talking someone else.
終了しろって言われてる。
Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time.
メニューを終了する。あ、できた。どうかなるのかな。
This is the story
ああ、文字通り初めから
All
な
of
った
his
わ。
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
これ
moment.
で、実績がもらえなかっ
Stanley
た
came
っ
to a
て
set
こ
of
と
two
は、
open doors. He entered the door on his left.
潰されるエンドができるということが、
Yet there was not a
行ってみ
single
よ
person here either.
う。もう一つくらい
Feeling
実
a
績
wave
取
of
りたいわ。
disbelief, Stanley decided
まあいい
to
や。
go up to his boss's office. Coming to a
もう
staircase,
下行かないと
Stanley
ね。
walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad, Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway.
ああ、めっちゃ飛ばしてくれた。
Please.
遅っ。2、8、845。押したけど。何も変わんない。これ、押されたってことは、ちゃんと続いてるってことだね。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
あのボタ
Although
ン
this
なんだろう。
passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his
ナレ
demise,
ーターや
he
ってるって
reflected
どう
that
い
his
う
life
こ
had
と
been
だ。
of no consequence whatsoever.
ナレーターもやって
Stanley
る。
can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story.
あの、エレベー
Trapped
ター。
forever in his narrow vision of what this world is.
これ、
Perhaps his
なん
death
か、
was of no great loss.
頑張れば落ちれそうだった、
Eyeballs from a
今。
blind man. And so he
わかる。
resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his
ずっと
brief
後ろに
and shallow
お
life.
火入れとくわ。
Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
あ、おい、落ちなかった。さっきあれが、
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see
1、
now?
2、3。
Do you see that Stanley was
逆らう
already
ことをやめる
dead
のです。
from the moment he hit start?
そういうことがゲームなんです。このゲームは。いいですか、キフーさん。
こんばんは。
こんばんは。温泉地帯。アンリーがエイリアンと戦場で戦うエンディング。どういうエンディングだってばよ。なんか、終わりが見えないゲーム。いろんな終わりがあるから。ああ。一回死にに行ってくるか。 このゲーム面白いっすよ。笑われた。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Oh.
But listen to me. You can still save those two. You can stop the program before they both
これで
fail.
さっきは
Push escape and press quit. There's no
エスケープボタンを押して終了しました。なお今回はそうしません。何かありそうだからです。あ、ピチッ。どうなる？あ。ああ。また始まっちまった。一席も何ももらわずに。じゃあ、どうしよう。下に行ってみるか。あの階段を下に行ってみる。ここの下だ。おお、赤い。ファイヤーホース。お。
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my coworkers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked up? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
絶対あと後ろ閉まんなかったりとかありそう。
I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice could all people in their dreams, the truth was that of course, this was a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain beyond a doubt that this was in fact a dream, Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was
めっちゃ喋
in
ってるわ、こ
control,
のおっさん。
that this was a dream.
永
So
遠
he
に喋っ
closed
て
his
る。
eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake
お
up.
おおおお。
He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one.
動けなくな、もうできない。
Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
あ、
I'm through with this
なん
dream.
かあれ。
I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my
なんか
life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am
なん
normal.
かちょっと光ってる。
Everything will be fine. I am okay.
おお。よし。続きだ。
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley.
おお、びっ
I have
く
a
りし
boss. I have
た。
an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went
おお
black.
おお。甘くなった。
This is the story of a woman named
変
Mariella.
わった人が。
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who
What is
stumbled
Stanley,
through
huh?
town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
お。これはある意味ハッピーエンドか。よし。このゲーム終わりがないからいつ終わるっていいのかわかんねえわ。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
どうしよう。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, new
Oh.
content? What does that mean? New
Oh.
content.
おなんだなんだおお
Hello,
Oh,
and
oh,
thank
oh,
you
oh.
for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
ああ
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After
Hi.
receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the
去年
Stanley
のゲームってこ
Parable
とか
Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game
ち
for
ち
consoles
なん
and
だ
home computers.
面白いんだ
Stanley
なあれ
Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content
Contents.
that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable,
Oh.
delighting audiences the world over.
すごいなんだっけディズニーっぽい
Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in
Disney
the
の
Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
なんだ
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
あ、何も起こりませんって言った。
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more
なんでこん
ready.
な
Let's
ナレーシ
do
ョン
it.
こんなにワクワクしんだ。
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
さ、ジャンプサークル。
All right, let's see. It's the jump
お、
circle.
お、ジャンプ。ジャンプ、しゃがみを。で、これはニューコンテンツあ、終わり。終わりか。ジャンプできなくなった。
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
え、
Goodness.
設定のコントロールにジャンプっていうのがあったから使うのかなって思ったら、あそこだけジャンプって。
Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive.
Okay.
It's just
I know.
elevators and jumping.
うん
Is this what passes for exciting new
ジャン
content?
プできないのにあそこだけジャンプさせられて
Just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait.
Oh.
There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying the new content. うわ、終わり。
You've got to be kidding me. You see,
終わ
Stanley?
りだ。
This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an
ここちゃんとハマる。
And don't get me started
こ
on
こ
the
動け
level
な
of
くなる。
craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game,
バック。
and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No
Oh.
frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always.
なんか言われてる。
What do you say, friend?
お、俺は、うわあ、俺は友じゃねえ。おお、なんか変わった。なんか違う。どういうこと？
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
行ってみるか。なんかいっぱい分岐多すぎる。何この分岐の量。
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret.
なんかすげえ。スカイリム？
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back
Stanley
in October
Parable.
of 2013, when the game originally launched?
おー
Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Don't play 4, 5. これ、あれ実績ってこと ?5 年プレイしないっていう実績があるのこれ。アチーバブル。この実績は、取れない。この実績、取ることができない。そんな実績あんの？これもやべえな。5年もプレイしないっていう。やべえゲームだ。だからそういうこと言ってたのか。さっきの人。エンディング 100% ですんのみたいなこと言ってたけど。これ座らせろよ。座らせろよ。大丈夫。
Over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games
この
aspire to be
石屋
more
だ。
than games
気
end
持
up
ち悪
less
い。
than any form of art. Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley?
これ、なんか、ここだけ見ると、あたしんちのお母さんに見えた。これ、このスタンリー。スカイリム、ペルソナ3。ああ、他のゲーム。
It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
これ、なんかちょっと見えるよ、これ。近く行くとスタンリーだけど、遠くから見ると、あたしんちのお母さん。いきまーす。メモリーゾーンメンテナンス。パーソン・オブ・ザ・イヤー。スタンリーってことんだバカな。
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that
ここら
offers
辺だ
some
な。
of the most enjoyable,
新地のお母さん。
surprising, and
ここで、
rewarding
違う
choices
ってなる
I've
わ。
ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get
I
it,
have always
Stanley?
been
The
someone who
game was
wants to go
perfect.
on
It
today.
didn't need anything else. It didn't need
I have
new
always been
content.
someone who
It
wants
just
to
needed to
go
be
the
left
long way.
alone. To spend the
What's in
rest
the
of time
game
collecting dust
when
in the
I
hallowed hall
sense
of
that
beloved video game memories.
Instant use you うさ勇者これ、全くわかんない文字があった。勇者調べます。
文字の羅列がすごい。
案内人、英語？これ英語なんだ。
Usher,
アシャ、
usher, 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 usher.
アシャ。あちゃー。よし。じゃあ行こう。あ、開いてる。開いてるんだけど、 それ、俺入れないんだよ。え？ジャンプさせろよ。ジャンプをさせろ。あ、ボタンがある。関係ない。関係ないのか？戻ってみるか。
These were simpler times, Stanley.
入って
But
る？
I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
入っていいんだね。おー。なんかある。
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
スチームのレビューは悲惨。うわー。
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to
いや、これ本当にあんのか
The
な？
narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny? I'm not trying to be
お
funny.
ー、びっくりした。
I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
いや、面白い。チームの評価は悲惨だったってことな。で、ここだな。あ、いい評価。あ、いや。
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
あ、落ちた。
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe let me skip ahead for just a moment. Surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
あの裏なんかある。ここでなんかあったらこの分岐も消費しないといけなくなるのかってなるけどな。とりあえず。
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this.
the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination works backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time.
これ新しいバージョンなんだよな。
Once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back.
これで待ってたら、スキップを押す方のエンディングもやんないといけないっていう。
So much more than forever ago, which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. to be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better
押せる。
educated on exactly how Steam works.
押せます。
Perhaps that
押
would
し
have been the...
ます。
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's...
30分も耐えないといけないな、あ
I
れを。
can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've
What's
looked
that?
at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back.
あ、枯れて
Oh
る。
my goodness, I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how
あ、これキーボード使わないでもプレイできるゲームだ。
talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same?
あ、
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have
完全に。
had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time.
あー。いなくなった。あ、押せなくなった。おお。
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us.
何が変わったっていうんだい？何が起こったっていうんだい？動いた。ドアの外で話してんだよ、誰か。怖いんだよ。ああ、壊れてる。あ、めっちゃ壊れてんじゃん。お。とか見え始めた。おお。あ、すげえ。ああ、崩壊した。ああ、スキップボタンも倒れてるじゃないか。いや、全部斜めになった。ああ、出れる。
暗い。
あ、なんか全部砂漠になってる。スキップボタンもう一回押せねえかな。
明るい。
あ、上がる。ボタン押せない。わあ。これは自由だな。単に。なんだ？音楽好きだけど。 え、本当にこれ歩かせんの？いや、大丈夫だった。こんなゲームなのこれって。これだけだと思ってた、俺。
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after.
はい。
Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
はい。なんか変わった。ニューコンテンツ。わ、すげえ。
Oh, good. You noticed my sign.
あ、
Yes,
そうだった
I
ね。
have something very exciting to show you.
行くか。素直に。なんだろ
ニューコンテンツわら。
う。なんかさっきからニューコンテンツの主張が激しい。飛ばされた。じゃあ行くか。
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be.
やばすぎる。
The original Stanley
こ
Parable
の
was
ゲ
a
ーム
gamble.
なんか可能性
Only
が
content for it should live up to that legacy.
膨大。
So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
新しいゲーム。いや、来たー。
Yes, you see,
すげえ。
isn't this
見
far
て。
superior
バック
to
に
a
なってる。
measly re-release with a few minor
すげえ。
additions?
隠されてる、ちゃんと。
New territory will cover with a fully fledged
あ、
scene, an entirely new experience built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
これでゲーム変わったってこと。わ、やべえ。
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
これは Google のあれだな。来た。
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it.
Two
I
eyes,
figure
two
that if I
ears,
can loosely organize a handful of
two
interesting
nostrils,
concepts,
two
that
arms, two
surely the
legs.
game will sort of
あ、そうなんだ。
naturally spring up around
2
them.
のフォン
It'll
ト
all
考え
work
てる。
itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
This way to the showroom. Blue? すげえ。海外っぽい。エクスポホール2。
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. うわ、すっげえ。すっげえ気持ち悪いゲーム。The button that says the name of the player that is play the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first
right.
and most
Too
obvious
small
answer
to be.
is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that
超
wonderful?
怖いんだけど。大丈夫。自分の名前ってでもね。本名とか。違った。
Sorry, I should have clarified.
よか
Right
ったわ。
now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you
野良猫のあ以外の
roleplay
名前だ
to
ったら
really
どうしようと思
stimulate
って
the
たわ。
full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and
日本で
waking
ジムってやべえな。
falling in love and
日
being
本人、純
heartbroken
日
as
本
Jim,
人のジム。
seizing all of the world's
日本生
possibilities
ま
as
れ、日
Jim,
本
and
育
as
ち、
Jim
両親日
watching
本
your
人
dreams crumble
で
into
ジム。
dust.
やべ
Do
え
you
な。
feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
こっちのボタンを押す。押すか。押すか。
Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
もう一回。
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the gym button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much, Jim. I'm putting the gym button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
で、こうちょっとテクスチャー突き抜けていった。押しに来ないか。
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature. Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on
Get
Get
well
Well
Someday
Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
いい日になるよ。
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really
Oh,
wanted all along. Happy
Achoo.
12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
そうだったな。
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No.
何こ
No,
れ
I've made my decision. We're moving on.
ノースクリーン、スクリーンショットの撮り方わかんないんだよね。スクリーンショット撮りたかったけど。
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
インフィニティホール。うわっ。おー。
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
G を押すと戻れます。
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
あ
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the
Oh.
infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an
あ。
extremely
下があ
deep
る
hole.
かもしんな
I
い。
don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of
Oh.
infinity. From one perspective, the
Stop.
infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a...
あ、来た。
Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely?
なんで
I
言ってる
figured
ん
the
だ。
hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't
こ
you
の人
put
足
this
強い
on
んだよ。
me? Maybe you're the problem.
どこから落ちても
Look,
いいな。
things got a little heated there.
な
I
ん
think
で
we
だろう
both
な。
said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the whole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
いや、ここにいたいけど、なんか、このゲーム全部のあれを取ろうとするとすっごいめんどくさいんだよな。ここに来るまですっごい分岐あってね。
I'm very excited to show you even. Oh, for heaven. You see? I
落ちち
was
ゃった。
right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there.
What's
Goes
that?
on forever till
Kakokoi.
the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of...
カン。
Oh. Did the whole
短く
thing
なった
even
な。
shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I
あ
mean,
れ
admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime.
Ah.
Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this
Come.
starts to become a thing where... Wow, okay.
タバコの吸い殻。
I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is.
Oh.
The shame of my lies.
Are-
Is this still appealing to you?
あれ
I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge?
ジャンプできないから戻れないんだよね、この段差でも。
And hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
おテレポートボタンが効かない。
Teleport button not working?
こ
You
の
sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix
い
this.
ろんなボタンを押してる。
I'm out.
全部押
Goodbye,
してる。
Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for.
あ
It's a
あ、
win
Windows
for
ボタン押してた。
everyone. You get to be with the hole. I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
おい、おい、ジャンプさせろ。お、なんか。ああ、下がってる。ああ、下に行ってる。なんか下がってる。これ、もしかしてこれがインフィニティフォールってこと？フォール？F？ あ、 白真。白真の視点変更なんだけど。ゴジオス。トゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルルントゥルル めっちゃちえこれ。
Stanley!
ああ、終わっちゃった。
Good, you're awake.
終わっちゃっ
It
た。
seemed you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland.
楽しかったのにちょっと。
怖い怖い。
Because
ちょっ
this
と
hole
楽
is
しかったのに
just
な。
so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide
ちょっと
awake
リズム
every
ゲームっ
second.
ぽくて面白か
You
った
don't
ね。
want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really truly focused on the whole?
なんだこのゲーム面白すぎる。
You and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back.
あ、まあ、もう一回。助けてくれないんだ。また始まる。また下に行く。あ、違う。違った。おお。
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
さっきのはあれで終わりってことか。なんだこのゲーム。やばすぎる。これがあれか。上、こっち。Can you find... おお。
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
もう、浮気も。やべ。みんな。うわ。あ。あれゲーム性変わった。コレクト全部、全部集めてねって。とか。ここ入れなかった。Can you find, can you find, can you find?
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
出口がある。出口があるけど、ちょっと待って。まだ楽しもうぜ、ここ。Get your light now. Get your light now.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you. And I promise it will happen.
これで終わり ?This is end? Just to achieve an achievement. ああ、これが絶対に取れないアチーブってこと？戻れるってこと？絶対なんかあるけど、戻ろう。
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
ジャンプサークル。
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
やっぱできないもん。いやー、絶対なんかあるところ、惜しいな。B 実績。That's view。らしいよ。
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
色、まだ作ってないってこと？で、あれ、ちょっと、あれめっちゃ気になる。あれめっちゃ気になる。あの QR コードめっちゃ気になる。ちょっと待って、近く行こう。近く行こう。あの QR コードめっちゃ気になるわ。はい。おお。ああ、ああ。貼り付けとか。
URL。
なんかサイトが出てきた。オフィスデコレーション。何だったんだ？
ちゃんとホームページ。
ちゃんとホームページなんだ。これ本当にあんの ?2 っていうのが。よくわかんないんだけど、これ。チャンピング、セッティングワールドチャンピオン。入れねえわ。入れなかった。この上って言ったっけ？行ってみるか。この安心のバケツ。
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance
なんか バ
You
ケ
see,
ツ
Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a
Buckets
sense of
ってこと？
calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning
安
the
心
game
で
to
き
be
る
less
バケツってことか。
uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a
なんだこれ。
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
え？あー、出れる。出れる。あれこれずっと持ってるってわけ？あ、ずっと持ってる。あ
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
見てないところあるか？知ったっけか。ああ、ずっとバケツが。いやー、なんか、すっごい質感いいんだよな。出口行ってみるか。ジャンプサークルあったでしょ？これがこのマップ。フリーアクマチウム。ボタン、なあ、これが。出るか。出るか。
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
はい。バケツを。
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
バケツずっと待たされて。あ
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
おう。お
I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this.
いい感じ。
Here we go. Version 2.
あー、わー。あー、
Who am I kidding, Stanley?
ごちゃごちゃ。
This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything.
あ、
I wanted more than
ちゃんと
anything to
ちゃん
create
と
a
してよ。ほん
sequel
と、次
that
は。
would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. with care for the vision and integrity of the original game.
もう完全に最初にやってたゲームと違うんだけど。
But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
おおあ、すごい。あ、すごい。すごい。なんか、変わってね。ああ、スタンリーパラブルウルトラデラックスだ。それ変わってないんだ。ちょっとこれ、一回終了してみます。一回終了してみようかな。一回戻ってみようかな。これ、めっちゃ気になる。この終了してデスクトップ。マジで気になる。やっていいかな。やべ。好奇
終わっ
心。
てなかった。
マジ好奇心が。一回押してみます。よし。これね。これ、配信、ゲームキャプチャー切ると、裏にコメント欄がバーって出てるっていう、欠陥が、手抜きの欠陥工事。本当だ。ちゃんとスタンリーパラブル2だ。始めよう。これ奥になんかあんのかな。始めます。
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee.
はい。実績解除された。ウェルカムバック。
All of his co-workers were gone. What
あ
could
っ
it
た。
mean?
さっきのあれ
Stanley
で。
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
デコレーションされてる。
Stanley felt the bucket calling to
Huh?
him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
Stanley picked up the bucket.
バケツ。
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
なんか、めっちゃ、絶対違うじゃん。絶対最初からみたいな風に出して。
No one was here.
最初からじゃないじゃん、これ。
Warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
やべえ。なんだこれ。
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
バケツまだある。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs.
なんか、
The bucket had never seen anything like
この
this.
会社にいる人たちはマインドコントロールで管理されてるみたいな感じになってんだけど、なんかクビにされてるやつが一人いるんだよな、あれ。誰なんこの。
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as
あ、
well?
二人だ。
Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
バケツは友達ねんの？
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery
で、これがなんかちゃんと普通のエンドっぽいんだよな。
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over?
で、バケツを持ってるからなんか変わんのかって
They had done it.
話
Stanley and
だ
the
よ。
bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped
あ
through
り、
this massive
話し
door.
始めんな。
The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and
あ、止まった。止まった。
what? Wait,
止まっ
what was
た。
happening?
違う。なんか変わっ
The
た。
door stopped. Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An
絶対変わるや
unbearable
と思
silence
ったわ。変わったわ。
lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the
おー。
facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing
また
warmth
暗くなった。あ
go to any lengths not to
ー。あ
No, Stanley can't leave this place.
あー、な
Not
んも見え
while
な
he
い。
has such a precious bucket in his arms.
俺も何も
Not
見え
while
なく
this
なるからや
building
めてほ
has
しいんだ
anything
よ
to
こ
say
れ。
about it.
あ
Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped.
あ。
Very
バケツ
soon
と
now,
一生一緒ってこ
he
と？
was about to find out.
バケツは友達エンドだ。うわ
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
バケツ。バケツいらないみて。
When Stanley came to a set of two open
ちょっと待
doors,
って。
he entered the door on his left.
245を打ってみよう。245。バケツと一生一
Yet
生
there was not a single
Endo.
person here
できたか
either.
ら。
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley
Uppa.
walked upstairs to his boss's office.
ここでスキップ入るよね。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
この音楽がちょっと流れた後にここが開きますっていうことですね。何も変わんない。
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
開いたー。
なるほど。
なんか、で、この後、もう一回あっち行くと、もう分かってるよね。じゃあ開けとくよ、みたいな感じになる。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even
高
possible?
速屈伸。
Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions.
で、さっきはこれを
or content.
これをオフにしたけど、
All of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
これを
And
次
as
は
the cold
オ
reality of
ン
his past
のボタン
began
を
to
押して
sink in, Stanley decided that this machine... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go.
まだ閉まってる。
Turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
え、あれ入るのかな？
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're
しまった。
eviscerated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
245
Other times, I let the
と
office sink into the
245社
ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp.
全部押すの
Say
か
this, though, this version of events has been
245
amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be
あ、2
even
だ。2。
better. My
おっしゃるのものを
goodness,
せって
only
こ
34
と
seconds
か
left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with
2
it.
2
I'm
2
going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious
2
additional
で
seconds,
4
Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save
どう
me.
すか
Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you
全くわかんないこと
humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle.
あ
30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life? Or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
うんわかんねえこれなんだやべえ。調べたい。調べたい。調べてる今。はいて。
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision?
閉
What
め
if a
た。
crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they
あの
would
ボタン何なんだろ
Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
うああ。 うわー。やべえ、いろんなエンディングあるわ。434のデスクに、
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
に乗り、窓に歩いていく。うわー。やべえ、何この。
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video
こ
game
のエンディン
structure
グなんだこ
and
れ。
its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
謎。
なんか、調べて、このネタに飽きた。はい。
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old
なんか、
time you want.
コンソール
Like
いじらない
now.
と
You could have
発
done
生
it
で
just
きな
then.
いエンデ
Now
ィング
would
があ
also
る。
be an appropriate time to quit.
めっちゃやってみたいけ
Any
ど
of。these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
ん
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function.
めっちゃ明るい。
Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too
なん
will
か、
become quite unbearable.
語りみたいな。
You too will become quite unbearable.
本当にこれ、なんもないの？あれ？この続編は一時停止中です。なんかめっちゃ赤いんだけど。怖すぎ。
怖い。
いや、ポリゴンショック。もう一回始めてみた。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
面白そうなエンディングが。逃げ腰ダッシュスポットエンド。上司の部屋に行く。で、入った瞬間、ドアが閉まる前に出る。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ah. ん
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Eh?
he entered the door on his left.
変わった。全くわからない。
Yet there was not a single person
え、
here
なんか
either.
全
Feeling
く
a
違うんだけ
wave
ど。
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
ああ、出れない。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
あれが閉まる前に出ると、
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
もうちょっと。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could
え、
it
何
mean?
これ
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
また。
When Stanley came, all of his co-workers were
いや、変わ
gone.
った。
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
何もうわからない。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
よし。来た。なくなってる。これ動画。
But Stanley just couldn't.
ドアがわからない。これでこれ。これで成功しないとダメっぽい。あ、来た。
Hello.
Hello.
This is a recorded message scheduled either by you
Hi.
or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded
これ何？
messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere.
では、
Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
何この電話。
ブテスト。
最初の、なんか、はーい、みたいな。ああ、爆発エンド。もう一回、その、もう一回や
When
ってみる。
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
なんかやらないと
Yet there was not a single
自分
person
が
here either.
あれし
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
言うことが変わった。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
出られない。出ることができない。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Osh. 来た。おっしゃ。ドアがなくなってんだよな。これをしろとは言われてるけど。あ、
You found one of them.
Oh.
One of the miniature Stanley figurines.
これまだ
Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
これあったんだ、まだ。なんか、他のエンディングやるか。あれが見てみて。何これ。いやー、また。これを右に行く。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
この左も入ってないんだよな、まだ。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've got... But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley
ここでは死んでしまった。ここだと死ぬんだ。
Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
これだと死ぬんだ。なんでや。
Stanley thought to himself, am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
これをこうして、
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he
こうして、
wasn't fired years ago.
よし。
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by
で、
jumping to the
この後
floor
飛び
below.
込み。
You know what? But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do,
で、これが逃げ
Stanley
押し
leapt
エ
from
ン
the
ドラッシ
platform and plunged to his death. Good job,
ュ。
Stanley.
あ
Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
あ。うん。天国エンド。419のデスクにあるコンピューター。
All of his
にあるコン
coworkers
ピュー
were
ター。
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
419。423。で、
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
ああ。わかんねえ。マジわかんねえ。
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
ああ、まあいい時間だし、ここまでにするか。ことで、多分、そう、毎回やるかな。
Stanley lifted the bucket
やる
into
かわ
his
かんない
arms,
けど、
and a
これ
wave
単
of
発
comfort
の
rushed
動画
through
リ
him.
ストに入れちゃったから、うん。もうこういうゲームです。こういうゲームなんです。あまりわかんないです、自分も。楽しいってことだけはわかりました。
面白かったな。
面白かった。めっちゃ面白かった。まだね、やり残したことはいっぱいあるけど、なんか、やり残したことほとんどあれなんだよな。あ、いや違う。ちょっと待って。あ、これ、出るかもしんない。あ、パソコンなくなった。ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って。天国エンドってやつ続いてるわ。うわぁ。
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How
なん
amusing
か
they'll find it. Oh,
すごい
won't
こと
we
にな
all
ってる。
just laugh and laugh at the time I thought
上
everyone
司
had
の
gone missing.
部屋の前にある。やべえ。終わろうと思ったらな。なんか面白いことになってんじゃん。終われないっす。やりたいっす。
Stanley came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left.
お We can find them. ああ。Plus a completing in the... ブルブル。上行って。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
おお。わあ。おが治ってる。
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would...
で、 タンリーのコンピューターに入力はすると、ああ、じゃあ、あれ見て。新海誠っすか？細田守。細田守だ。細田守だ。あれ来た。
なんだこれは。
あれかもしんない。U の世界かもしんない。新海誠だっけか。新海誠と細田守。いや、新海誠だ。いや、細田守だ。サマーウォーズ。いや。なんか、サマーウォーズのあれみたい。え？全部押せって？やばい。多分全部押せって言われてる。いや、違う。違う。戻る。何これ。なんだったの？いや。こんな感じらしいです。
気が狂う。
でもなんか、よくわかんなくなってきた。何が何なんだ。よし。じゃあ、ここら辺まで終わりにします。気になった人がいたら、ぜひやってみてください。ということで、ありがとうございます。見に来てくれて。ほんじゃ、バイバイ。
お疲れ様でした。お疲れ様です。